Hey guys, so today I'm looking at space stock, and one of the main things that I've been watching for this stock is whether or not they can continue growing after the big run up that they actually had sometime last month. Now, when they had this run up, I told you guys that I was kind of watching for a pullback on the stock because of the fact that they have very, very weak financial data here. Now, one of the main reasons why I like the stock is because they are projected to do very well within a few years, and it's always clear in the stock market that stocks move before the event that actually is going to make them bounce. Now, one of the main reasons why I was watching them during that time is because they had a couple test space flights and they want to be offering commercial space flights within the next few years here, and potentially at the beginning of 2021 is when the company has projected to start these. So it's kind of a very, very close time frame for the stock to continue selling off the way it is. And what that kind of has to show an investor is that there is a lot of downside to this stock if you bought it at all-time highs, but at the same time, there's a lot of upside coming in the future that a lot of investors are undervaluing here. Now, one of the main reasons why I was kind of watching the stock after they had a pullback was that I was kind of watching whether or not they were going to be retesting some of these key levels here, and if they were going to be able to reach back down to these economic downturn prices around the $14 to $15 range here, because at that price, the stock is at its minimum value here. And regardless of the fact that they're having bad earnings, bad financial data, they are at their cheapest price and cannot go below this. And that's one of the main ways that I actually like to trade here on the stock market. Now, you can see that the last month has been absolute hell for this stock. They've been down around $5, and for a stock that only cost around 20 something, it's going to be around a 20 to 25% loss here in the last month from what you can see on the Robinhood indicator. However, where there's a lot of downside, there's always going to be an opportunity to catch a bounce. Now, yesterday I invested here at around the $17.50 range, and I held throughout the day and sold right when the market closed at around $18 here. So that was a very, very good swing play for me, because when I'm able to buy a lot of shares at a $17 value, that's going to be an incredible swing, and I earned around $200 to $300 off that trade alone. Now, one of the main reasons why I was able to make that trade was because of technical analysis. Now, like I always say, guys, if you don't do technical analysis, you're basically gambling on these stocks, and you're better off going to a casino because you don't know what's going to happen in the market or potentially into the future with your position. Now, right now I'm on tradingview.com and I'm using the free version of their software, so you guys can see anybody can do this analysis and anybody can make these quick swings on a daily basis with potentially any stock. Now, right now I'm watching Space because of the fact that they're entering their old channel. Like I said in my previous video on Space, they have a very, very strong channel here between $21 and $14.60. And what that kind of means is that whenever they are at one of these two ranges, or at the top or the bottom of the range, they react very violently. And you can see that the way it works is if they do leave this range, then when they come back, they are going to see a lot different support. So for example, here they left the range. You can see that they almost tried and they had two candles, two wicks ripping up to the range. However, when they reached the top of it, the stock was not ready to go and they came back down very violently. Within a couple days, they sold off almost $2 to $3 here. And one of the main reasons why I'm watching this key level here is because this is kind of where they last retested the range, and you can see that it's one of the biggest wicks that the stock has had in the last few weeks. Now, what is a wick? Is when a candle doesn't close at the same price that it actually went to during that time frame. Sometime in this 4-hour candle, the price of space stock went all the way to 2107, $21, sorry, and sometime in that 4 hours, they also came all the way back down to $19.85. So that would be a very, very strong sign if we were trading this stock, that that price is going to be hard to break at that time, because when they ran up, they had a very, very violent move to the downside. And you can see that 2 days after that, they came all the way down to 1709. So like I was saying, guys, when a stock breaks these supports, then when they come back and retest, you can see that they're going to be having very, very much resistance. So what do I mean by that? Before, when a stock was breaking out, this was its resistance. It could not go above this price. Now, after it went above the price, as you can see here, the next day they sold off, but no matter how hard the sold off investors, the bulls, tried to bring this stock back down, they were not able to break this key level, and we actually saw a bounce the very next day. So that's one of the main reasons why I tell you guys to see these levels and see if they're being held up, because you could have caught a trade like this very, very easily just by seeing the amount of resistance that was being offered at this level and realizing that only upside was from coming to like beginning to form from this certain level here. So one of the main reasons why I kind of watch Virgin Galactic now is because of the fact that they've broken back into the channel, and like I said, when they break these levels, they move very, very violently. You can see that they've been down almost $4 to $5 here within the last week, like I was showing you guys. And whenever there's a large sell-off, it's always going to present us with a chance to have some kind of a reversal, some kind of an overreaction correction here that we can potentially trade for hundreds of dollars. So one of the main things I'm watching is whether or not Virgin Galactic is going to break below where these wicks were the last time that we actually saw them come below heavily off this $21 range, or if they're going to break all the way back to 1460. Now, if they do break back down to 1460, I'll probably make a similar video to the one I made on Boeing or the one I made on Lululemon, where I titled it "Why I'm Going All In on This Stock," because this will be an extremely, extremely good time to buy. There's no other minimum price for this stock, and the fact that they could even be worth that low honestly surprises me. But I said in my other video that they could pull back down to this mid-range here where we saw a lot of their resistance kind of happening. And like I said, once they break this range, when they come back, it's going to be very, very hard to come below it. And it's the same thing for this mid-range that I have set up here. Once they broke this range, they had a very, very tough time coming below it and instead bounced upwards. So I'm looking for that same kind of support here at the 1798 again, if we do want to see a very, very strong bounce, maybe from 1798 to the $21, which would be the ideal position for my trade here. So you can see if I go back to the Robinhood that I did make a long-term play here for 925. So that's over a month of time here, and I'm looking for the stock to be worth around the $20 to $22 range at the time when I want to sell this stock. Now, right now you can see that I'm down around $25 all time. Unfortunately, I did buy this when the stock was more higher valued, and not only higher valued, but when after they were having a bounce, because I did think that they were having a very, very strong bounce. Like I said, I also bought shares. The shares were very profitable and are able to hold the downside on this contract trade that I made. But unfortunately, they are still losing in the last few days. So I'm going to be watching very, very carefully this position to make sure that I'm not losing more than 20% of it, more than 25% of it, which is when I would probably pull out because my account can't take that kind of risk on the small account. However, if I do see a large bounce on this small account, then this play will be paying absolute dividends here because of the fact that they could be seeing a bounce here to the 21. So that would be the ideal situation for my play. Now, the second situation that could present itself is that we do see some kind of continued downwards move to around the 1460, or maybe even to the bottom of this range here, which is around 16, where I will be looking to buy a larger position in space. However, the dream would be 1460, because at that price, you literally cannot lose on this stock. They only have upside at that price, and that's what's been shown over the last few weeks to months with their stock here. You can see that they rarely go below, and the only other time was during COVID, which isn't a situation that's likely to represent itself, as a matter that we've kind of moved on from that, and the stock market is again reaching all-time highs. So the fact that this stock is so cheap right now is honestly surprising to me, but I can see them going a little bit lower to the bottom of this range around the $17 mark. At the $17 mark, I'll be buying a smaller position here where I can kind of reconsider whether or not I want to continue buying more shares if they do break to the upside, or if I want to let them drop a little more and then buy more shares at the 16 or the 1460. So that's the key prices that I'm watching here over the next few weeks to months on the stock, and I'm really hoping for a retracement to around the $27 mark if we do continue getting a lot of positive news about this stock, or if we do see them having any type of financial gains that we can kind of mark as profit. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, they've been selling off for a long time, and one of the main reasons was the Wall Street Journal released an article on them talking about how they don't really have any financial data to back up this huge run. The bulls came in and took over. However, we're now at a key level where the bulls were actually thwomped out and we're not able to break this key level. So that's why I'm kind of taking an eye on this very, very important moment to see whether the stock has more downside at this moment or more upside. As always, you're going to be watching for these candles because these candles are a great indication of when bulls or bears come in. Because when you see these fuller candles, yeah, that's just regular trading on the stock. But when you see a lot of these candles where they absolutely rip down and then come back up in the same hour or 4 hour period, that's just a great indication of there being a lot of resistance in one way or the other at that very time. So just keep a close eye out, guys. This stock is at a key moment, could break to the downside or the upside. You decide based on your analysis or what you want to say, but I think they're going to be having a break to the upside after hitting around $17 here, especially if we can see the stock market break into all-time highs once again. So as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.